In 2023, a journalist flew to Ireland to interview Cillian Murphy about Oppenheimer. She sat in an empty upstairs room of a restaurant near his house in Dublin. The room was dark. The only sound was the hum of a wine refrigerator. And Cillian Murphy, Oscar winner, star of the biggest film of the year, one of the most famous actors on the planet, looked like he wanted to disappear. He loathes interviews. He looks visibly tortured during them. He has admitted he is really bad at being on the red carpet. He finds being photographed offensive. And here's the question nobody is asking. How did the most uncomfortable man in Hollywood become one of its biggest stars? Because Cillian Murphy isn't just famous, he is famous despite hating everything about being famous. And that contradiction, that painful, awkward, deeply human contradiction, is exactly what makes him fascinating. Let's start with the evidence. Cillian Murphy has spent his entire career looking like someone who desperately wants to be somewhere else. In interviews, he shifts in his seat, he gives short answers, he avoids eye contact. He has admitted that he finds social interaction quite overwhelming. His Oppenheimer co-star, Emily Blunt, called him the worst celebrity in the world, not because he's rude, but because he is so visibly uncomfortable with the trappings of fame. Another co-star, Matt Damon, revealed that Murphy turned down every single dinner invitation during the filming of Oppenheimer. Not because he didn't like his castmates, because he doesn't go out. Murphy himself has confessed, "I don't like being photographed by people. I find that offensive." Think about that for a second. One of the most photographed men in the world finds being photographed offensive. He has described fame as something that fetishizes everything. He says it can ruin experiences, because you can be walking down the street and someone takes a picture like this is a fucking event. He doesn't have FOMO, fear of missing out. He has ROMO, relief of missing out. When Christopher Nolan made The Odyssey without him, Murphy didn't feel left out. He felt relieved. This is not a man who wants to be a celebrity. This is a man who tolerates celebrity because it's the price he pays to do the work he loves. To understand why Cillian Murphy is so uncomfortable with fame, you have to understand where he came from. He was born on May 25th, 1976 in Douglas, Cork, Ireland, the eldest of 4 children. His mother taught French. His father worked for the Department of Education. He was sent to Presentation Brothers College, a private Catholic school, and he hated it. He wasn't the popular kid. He wasn't the jock. He was the quiet one, the kid who felt out of place, who didn't quite know how to connect. In his late teens, he found an escape: music. He played guitar in several bands, including a successful group called the Sons of Mr. Green Jeans. He was offered a record deal, and he turned it down. Why? Because even then, even before he was famous, he didn't want to be part of a machine that would control his image. Instead, he discovered acting. He made his professional debut in a play called Disco Pigs in 1996, and something clicked. But here's what's important. Murphy never pursued fame. He pursued craft. He studied law at University College Cork and dropped out after a year. Not because he was lazy, because he knew what he wanted, and law wasn't it. He wanted to act. He wanted to disappear into characters, and that's exactly what he's been doing for almost 3 decades. Cillian Murphy's career is a masterclass in playing tortured, complicated men. He broke through in 28 Days Later, 2002, a zombie film that was actually about something much deeper: rage, isolation, and the collapse of civilization. Then came Batman Begins, 2005, where he played the Scarecrow, a villain who wasn't physically imposing but was psychologically terrifying. Then The Wind That Shakes the Barley, 2006, a film about the Irish War of Independence that won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. Then Inception, then Dunkirk, and then the role that changed everything, Tommy Shelby in Peaky Blinders. For 9 years, Murphy played the gangster with the razor blade cap and the 1,000-yard stare. Tommy Shelby was cold, calculating, ruthless, and deeply, profoundly broken, and audiences loved him. But here's the tragedy. Audiences couldn't separate Murphy from Shelby. They expected the actor to be like the character, mysterious, swaggering, charismatic. And Murphy couldn't provide that because he's nothing like Tommy Shelby. He couldn't be further from me, Murphy admitted. He said, "I do feel people are a little bit underwhelmed. That's fine. It means I'm doing my job." But that's the thing. He feels guilty about disappointing them. Imagine feeling guilty because you're not the character you played on TV. Imagine feeling like you've failed people because you're just yourself. Cillian Murphy has achieved everything Hollywood can offer. He won the Best Actor Oscar for Oppenheimer. He became the first Irish-born actor to do so. He has worked with Christopher Nolan, one of the greatest directors of his generation, 6 times. He has a net worth estimated in the tens of millions. He has critical acclaim. He has global recognition. And yet he describes himself as an incredibly average person. He told a journalist, "It's not healthy if you start to believe this shit." He says he is stubborn and lacking in confidence, a terrible combination. Think about that. One of the most acclaimed actors in the world, a man who has delivered performances that have moved millions, who has won the highest honor in his profession, and he still lacks confidence. He doesn't enjoy watching himself on screen. When asked about Oppenheimer, he said, "I don't like watching myself. It's like, oh fucking hell." He doesn't do TV talk shows. He rarely gives personal interviews. He avoids social media. He has moved back to Ireland away from the Hollywood machine and lives a quiet life with his wife and 2 sons. He doesn't want to be a celebrity. He wants to be an actor. And the tragedy is that the world won't let him be just one without the other. Here's the uncomfortable truth that Cillian Murphy's life reveals. We have built a culture that worships fame. We tell young people, get famous, get rich, get recognized. That's the goal. But what happens when you actually achieve it? Murphy has given us the answer. Fame kind of destroys nuance in human behavior, he said. It turns ordinary moments into events. It makes you feel like you're in a zoo, on display, watched, judged. He said fame evaporates with regularity. In Ireland, nobody cares. He goes to the shop, he lives his life, and that's exactly how he wants it. But the moment he steps onto a red carpet or into an interview room, the discomfort returns because fame isn't natural. It isn't healthy. It isn't something humans are designed to handle, and Cillian Murphy, perhaps more than any other star of his generation, has refused to pretend otherwise. He won't perform the role of celebrity. He won't fake enthusiasm for the spotlight. He won't pretend to enjoy the parts of the job that make him miserable. That makes him the worst celebrity in the world, according to Emily Blunt. But it also makes him one of the most authentic. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Cillian Murphy has everything the world tells us we should want. Fame, fortune, critical acclaim, an Oscar, global recognition, and yet he looks uncomfortable. He looks like he wants to escape. He describes himself as average, lacking in confidence, and overwhelmed by social interaction. He has achieved the dream, and the dream has made him miserable. Not because fame is bad, but because fame isn't what we think it is. It doesn't fill the void. It doesn't make you confident. It doesn't give you peace. It gives you attention, and attention, as Murphy has discovered, is not the same as connection. Cillian Murphy doesn't want to be the most uncomfortable star in Hollywood. He just wants to act. He wants to disappear into characters. He wants to do the work he loves and then go home to his family, and the world keeps insisting that isn't enough. Maybe the real problem isn't Cillian Murphy. Maybe the real problem is us and what we expect from the people we put on pedestals. Because if a man as talented, as successful, and as accomplished as Cillian Murphy still feels like he doesn't belong in the spotlight, maybe the spotlight was never designed for human beings to begin with. If this changed how you see fame, celebrity, and the price of success, subscribe to Ech-hoo, because fame fades, but the truth always echoes.